Day 3. Let's see if our run of hoppy beers continues. I mean, when I'm putting together advent calendars, I look at the dates on the advent calendar, and for things like a Friday, a Saturday, maybe a Monday, I try to align something which fits with those days. So it'll be interesting to see if the breweries have done the same thing, and if we're getting a treat today. Let's find out. Well, the answer to that question was clearly yes. We are getting a treat today, because it's a Lindheim. And not only that, it's a Lindheim with a cork and a cage, which means, I mean, how blind can it be? It's Lindheim, it's got cork and a cage, that means it's going to be barrel aged, it's going to be sour. I suppose it could be a cider. We'll see, we'll see. Oh, I can't wait. I can't wait. This is never bad. What's in these bottles is never bad. Doesn't seem to be too carbonated. Let's see. Little bit. Alright. Okay, pretty carbonated actually. Alright, looking pretty golden and clear. I can't tell anything from the appearance of this one, although the appearance does not rule out that it could be a cider. But cider does not tend to have that head retention. We'll see. That's so good. All right, so I'm getting a lot of funk. I'm getting some slight bits of vinegar notes. I'm getting some wood. I'm getting a little bit of nuttiness, which is sometimes a indication of a long-aged sour beer. I'm getting a little bit of stone fruit, sort of like peach pit, or even cherry pit. Incredibly complex nose. But the thing it reminds me most of is a Belgian Gers, a lambic, an unfruited lambic. To me, a really well executed, well, it depends on the brewery's sort of profile, but a lot of really well executed lambics tend to get those peach pit kind of aromas to them. In addition to the funk, this has a really nicely developed funk profile. And like by funk profile, I mean every brewery that makes sour beers tries to have their own sort of profile to the funkiness that their beer gains over the years that they age it. So that when you pick up a beer from that brewery, you smell it and you go, oh, that's Cantillon, or oh, that's Lindheim. Lindheim does have that. And like myself, I would characterize it as something that is like Lindheim's funk. I would characterize it as being a little bit cherry pit, a little bit barnyardy, a tiny little hint of basement, and a amount of sort of vinegar notes, supportive vinegar notes, which in Belgium you wouldn't get them with Driefontein or Cantillon, but you might get them with someone like De Kam. It's a little bit more than Driefontein or Cantillon, but it fully works with their funk profile. Damn, that was a lot of talking. Just from the aroma, I don't think there's fruit added to this. Like I said, it reminds me of a Belgian Gers. Let's have a taste. There's something different in there. There's something different in there. I said it wasn't cider. I'm less convinced now. All right, so I think this could be a. I was not getting. Oh man, I go back now, having tasted it, and I get so much apple on the nose that I was not getting before. Okay. Wow. To be such an apple, like I think to be a beer with which I think has a lot of apple in it, has a really sour beer like Belgian Gers style nose. That totally tricked me. But what gives it away, I think, is that it tastes like apples. I mean, it tastes like a Granny Smith apple. Maybe not quite as fresh as a Granny Smith apple, but it definitely has that apple flavour to it. It definitely has a lot of, the acid character is definitely malic acid, like eplesyre in Norwegian. I'm pretty sure that the flavour of that is apples, but I think, I mean, given the hints, given the aroma, given the head retention, the amount of funky beer notes in the nose. I mean, I have to think that this is a beer with apple juice added to it, right? I hope it's not pear now, because then that's just gonna break my head. Absolutely delicious. It also has a little bit of a sweetness, which, if it was a Gers style beer, probably, no, it wouldn't be there. Gerses are completely dry. Completely dry. This definitely has a little bit of reinforcing sweetness, which just goes to make it, it's like apple sweetness. It just goes to make me think that make me think even stronger that there's apple in this. I've got nothing else to say. Let's find out what it is. I'm curious as hell. If it's not apple now, oh no. Idiot. Oh, the danger of blind tasting, huh? Yeah. Plomme Lille. It's a plum sour. Jesus. Apple. What am I thinking? No, I mean, I have to stand by it. That's what I tasted, right? I tasted apple. I'm not wrong. I mean, I am wrong, but I tasted apple, and that's what I tasted. So I just got to own it. You know what? I stand by it, because to be a plum sour, that reminds me a lot more of apples than it does plums. That's fun. In some, like, okay, so in Cool Ship Plum, which Lindheim also made, they made it a few years ago. That was a beer which really amplified the stone fruit characteristics of the plum, to a point where you could almost think that it was an apricot or peach sour beer. It was an incredible beer. This goes in an opposite direction, and it sort of doesn't amplify those characteristics. It amplifies more of the apple-y characteristics to me. It could be that there are different varieties of plums. That could be what it is. I don't know. But even knowing that it's plum and smelling it, plum is still not the fruit that comes to mind. It makes me think apple more. Maybe I'm just doubling down on my own tasting notes. That could be true. Apple sweetness. It's a damn good beer, but man, does it remind me so much more of apples than it does plums. I wonder why that is. That's super fun. Maybe it could have something to, it's aged on bourbon barrels. Maybe that could have something to do with it. But second fill bourbon barrels and rye, I don't know. One of these things might be sort of augmenting the plum in a way that makes it more apple-y. Maybe my palate just wants to interpret plum as apple today. That could be it too. Who knows? Regardless, it's an absolutely beautiful beer. I'm sure you agree. Another thing I love about it, I should have said it when I was blind, but another thing I love about it is that the acidity is not at all overwhelming. And that's one of the balances that it's actually really difficult to get right in a great sour beer, was to make a great sour beer that where the acid isn't overpowering, where you could conceivably drink a whole bottle of it and not have heartburn for the rest of the day. Some lambics, which I absolutely love, they just don't get that balance right. And while they're very enjoyable, it's a very painful experience to drink an entire bottle of them. This absolutely gets that right. I will be able to drink this, enjoy it, and not go home with heartburn afterwards. Great stuff. An absolutely beautiful beer. Thank you, Lindheim. Awesome stuff. Cheers. See you tomorrow.